Welcome. Hello, everyone, to another episode of our International Women's Day 2026 HR Leadership Series. I'm your host, Vandana Nayar, and today we are spotlighting Preety Agarwal, who is currently Head of Talent Acquisition, APAC at AMS. Welcome, Preety. Such a pleasure meeting with you today.
Vandana. I'm genuinely glad to be part of the session, as I said before this discussion. First time ever. So happy to be part of this session and add value wherever I can.
Wonderful, Preeti. So, my next question to you is you mentioned that you never really hesitated taking risks. A lot of complex projects came your way, and you kind of assigned those opportunities to your intrinsic quality of risk taking. So, could you talk to us a little bit about maybe a role you took up or a decision you made, maybe a strategy that
Yeah.
most people thought was crazy, but fundamentally it led you to where you are and shaped your career?
I think there were many such instances, Vandana. One, because obviously at that point of time, I was too young and junior to understand if I'm taking risk, or maybe our appetite to take more challenges was far more higher. I think with time we get into the zone that we have some past track records, we get little bias that maybe these projects won't fly. That part of youth I still carry in terms of actually realizing that there were many such projects that came up, and we have had debates that this doesn't make sense. Picking this up at this time, this is year end, everybody's on leave, so who will deliver? This will also involve working 20 hours in a day, especially in a phase when everybody in my family is waiting for me to join them on their leaves. So, timing and the amount of time that I have to give during those days was definitely not at all easy.
Absolutely, Preeti. What came to my mind is that there are a lot of leaders who are doing a lot of amazing work, but to my mind, it could be that I'm biased because I'm a woman myself. But when I do the analysis, I somewhere believe that how we manage things, how we multitask, how we take our decisions, whether
Yeah.
it is empathy or the sensitivity with which we approach a situation, or we decide on what to take up, how to prioritize, does all of this come from being a woman? Does it come from early childhood or from our own life experiences that there's always more than one role on our plate and we are balancing constantly? So we have created those neural pathways over a period of time, which when we are put in a certain spot to take decisions, to take risks, and to do things, it kind of almost comes naturally. Would you agree with me or disagree, or what are your thoughts?
I will. I think I will always agree. As I mentioned in my LinkedIn as well, that I come from a very, very, very small town. Now, 95% of the people would not even have heard about these townships that we come from, and being from Orthodox Brahmin family, married to an Agrawal, I think the flavor of, I think till the time you're single, you feel that your family is conservative and orthodox. But the moment you get married, then you see the actual movies. So the trailer really gets converted to all possible, snippets of the conservativeness and even realizing that what clothes you are supposed to wear to what clothes you can't wear, which is something that you generally don't see till the time you're a single because you're a kid. Your parents still see you as somebody who's okay to be experimenting. So our phases definitely goes up and down in terms of accepting a lot of things that you may not be mentally accepting, but you're just accepting for the sake of people to just avoid a lot of conversations around. And similarly, when you pick up a project in your organization and you know you are struggling, while you know that you have people to take help, but you still know that the more you raise questions or the more you are asking for help, tomorrow that reliability of you picking up another project could be very, very difficult. It will be looked differently that it was your decision, we were saying no. um, so yes, that unsaid thing always remains, not that we think on those lines always, because you get natural in it. You keep beautifying your responses, you keep beautifying your expressions, and you keep beautifying your deliveries. So end of the day, you learn how to present yourself better, even with too many odds going in your head.
Lovely. Tell us, Preeti, over the last 2 decades, you may have evaluated countless sourcing and recruitment tools, which, now, AI is being sold as the silver bullet for efficiency.
Yeah.
And from your vantage point, where does AI genuinely add value in strategic sourcing? And where do you think it's creating more noise than signal?
Where I have personally seen, because I mean, when I go back and see way back in 2005 when I got into recruitment, to 2007 when the first ATA started coming in, the Telio of the world. That was the first tool I've ever heard. And the first thing we heard is that when organizations will have these ATS, the CRMs of the database depository of all the profiles, then they will not need suppliers because they will have all the profiles in their one box, and they have to filter, they can do the searches and the profiles will come back to them. Until today I don't see that ever being faded. The organizations, how much ever depository they will, from Telio to success factors to multiple, I don't want to name a lot of
Yeah.
tools here because it's not about that they aren't doing a great job. It's all about that the right usage and where these tools can help. It's still dependent on human. So while there are these tools, as far as different sourcing tools goes, we may be talking about multiple channels, be it your job boards to how different tools, some of these AI tools genuinely help us in updating the profiles from time to time. Nowadays, AI is a top notch above that it helps Preeti's resume to be updated with the latest version of whatever profile Preeti's profile is available anywhere in different web. But AI is still fed in with your own biasness to a larger extent. We keep saying the more you enter, it starts understanding your pattern. It is surprising when sometimes I go back to one of the tools that I generally frequently use, Copilot, asking on certain questions. It comes back and shares a version of my version, wherein all the questions is not related to my version of what I'm trying to understand. So that I feel that it still limits to what we are feeding in and what comes out. And that unsaid biasness that AI is entering into is risky, is genuinely risky. Tomorrow, today, if I am feeding in that my need is always about people with certain years of experience, then we are not hiring people based on skills. We are still going back and it will keep throwing results basis those years of experience. But AI, it's still as if now it will help you take a decision, but it cannot contrast to the decision making ability that you can bring on table versus your intuition versus the change or the shift of need of skills that's needed now. So that alignment will not happen.
Right. So somewhere we've solved for efficiency and speed at some level, but
Yeah.
we haven't. We're still in the process of solving for the right
Yeah.
person in the right place for the right reason,
Correct.
right? So this makes me think about, what if we imagined a world in which there were no resumes, a resume free world? What would then happen? Because I can doctor proctor my resume to make me appear like anyone I want to appear, just to have an opportunity
Yeah.
to interview with you, just so that the system picks it up. So that's what we're all doing these days. Let's say you and I, we decide to partner and start an organization which says, we're going to help you acquire talent, but we're going to do it resume free. What do you think would happen in that world?
It will be good when this will happen because today preparing a resume is a matter of fraction of minutes. It's not even a minute's job. So and if the entire decision needs to be made basis those resume, or good, you can say 70% of the decision needs to be made basis those resume, because AI is going to screen these resume and put it in front of a sourcer or a recruiter or the TA heads, stating that these are the right series of profile. So imagine the amount of wastage of effort that we are doing to go through those series of resume, which can be, because that's what people do. They put their resume and their job description and say that redo my resume basis this. So there is by default a feed that we are entering into the systems that pull this resume first on top of any other profile, and that is only going to involve a lot of confusion and a lot of data wastage, time wastage and effort wastage from everybody. There will be a need that things cannot be made basis resume. And I think we have seen that trend always. How much ever data will talk heavily on everything, there will always be a gap. We will continue struggling, continue creating that mark every time we meet a foreign organization saying that no, India has talent. We still have to start the conversation on the same note that these are the cities which are rich on educated profiles. These are the cities which has a lot of analytical resources. uh, it's not that data is not there, it is right there, it is loud and clear in every conversation and context. So a world without resume will be a need for sure. At least for uh, TA industry, there will be a need for us to do that.
Preeti, I sometimes wonder how organizations can adapt better in order to respect cultural nuances. Considering most of our AI tools available for recruitment these days are all based on Western norms and data sets. So, what would your advice be about AI adoption with respect to cultural and linguistic diversity?
Most of the organizations that we're talking about are all global organizations, so their AI is definitely not tuned or accustomed to a lot of geographies. And that's where the AI version creates a lot of nuances, and it may misinterpret confidence, assertiveness, or even career gap. It can show you a resume or it can show you the right hire, but it cannot show you the courage or the risk of, I mean, the ability of taking a risk. It cannot show you the resilience that a profile can bring on table. So, risk algorithm bias, it is disguised as inefficiencies throughout. By default, we know that in India we do not have the appetite to oversell ourselves. Our selling ability for different region or creating a brand for ourselves, there is humility in certain regions, there is assertiveness in certain region, and there is a lot of branding practices in certain region. So it will take, AI need to get into those nuances of understanding different geographies. So that awareness and AI bridging those gaps, it will take some time.
That was a wonderful perspective, Preeti. Thank you so much for that. My next question to you is about the new workforce that we are seeing today, what we call the Gen Z. What is your take on how leaders, how organizations need to adapt or need to maintain an unbiased approach when, whether it is hiring decisions or it is team dynamics or it is about managing equations within projects and setups? What do you think is different or is same about this particular workforce we call Gen Z?
I'm confident in most of the organizations, you will always see that the percentage of we wanting to hire freshers is never more than one digit to a three digit to a five digit maximum. It won't even touch 10%. But does that mean that we do not have those many managers and leaders who can train two or three people within their own team? The answer is that even if we do have, they do not have appetite to train. They just don't have the appetite. Everybody wants ready-made materials. With new generation, I see that they are far more ready-made materials, just that our acceptance for them is going to take some more time. When we talk about attrition, the first thing that we always realized is that the newer generation or the fastest entry, the early entrants are the faster resignations. People completing 6 months in the organization is the toughest phase for anybody to go through. If they manage to survive the first 6 months, they eventually tend to complete 2 years in the organization, but the first 6 months is the biggest milestone, and especially with the latest generation, because they realize that their thought, their ideas, it just doesn't match. Most of the time, my conversations with the women managers is always that why do we see attrition in our team? Why is that we aren't able to find out ways of getting the best out of them? And the common answer you will hear is that this generation doesn't want to hear. This generation doesn't want to take feedback. And my question is that why are we not sensing that they're not the right people who want to take feedback? We have been dealing with oldest in our generation to the newest of the unborn babies whose statements we could hear when they're not even saying. They haven't even started talking. With their expressions, we know that they are in pain. So why are we struggling now that they don't want to hear? When we are dealing with teenagers at home, We know that they need that 2 years of their phase when they don't want to be heard. I mean, they don't want to be listening at all. They just want to get into a zone where they want to say. But these generations are the fastest generation to get aligned. They know how to behave and how to stay socialized. They know their limits. I am surprised when I took my entire team for a dinner 2 weeks back, and I was surprised that it is only some aged group people who didn't know how much to drink, but not the latest generation. So I think the new generation is far more smarter. They know how to do right branding for themselves. And I'm loving working with them. That shift has happened for me to understand that they are the smartest talent in the organization, but they're big surprises.
Preeti, when I look at your journey through your experience with, let's say, Kelly Services or at any other organization where you've been driving talent acquisition, specifically what I see is, the role as global CEO with QX Recruiting Services, where you had to take care of a lot more than just hiring in terms of P&L and all of that. So we'd love to hear from you about this whole transition. How did this pan out for you?
Even in Kelly services, while I was into recruitment and helping clients grow, we were still evaluated as individuals as revenue generators in the organization. We always had a revenue target. The only difference is that maybe I never looked at my target at all, ever in my career. I think that gave me a far more breathing space. When you want to see a target, you feel good when you reach it. But when you don't see a target, it's far more easier that you enjoy that journey. When you're out in a park, you just want to enjoy everything around. Wherein if you see a barricade and you have to stop there. So if I had to take a decision to move from Bangalore to Pune, I called up my first client that I'm moving to your city. Help me. I don't think that the PNL journey was a new journey for me at all. The only shift was that from a specific market role to a global role.
So, what I really hear, Preeti, is that when you enjoy what you're doing, when you're in the flow, I guess the passion creates the magic and a lot of success, and you become unstoppable. Thank you for that, Preeti. So, Preeti, for all the women out there who are aspiring to be like you, to find their true north, find their own place in their careers, what would be your one message?
I think I will always say, and I've been saying this, Vandana, to a lot many women colleagues and peers in my journey, is always about enjoy what you do. If you are not enjoying, if you haven't found something that you enjoy, pick that up immediately. Find the right ambassador, be with the right set of people, find the right kitty group, but just be with the right set of people. Uh, that right ambassador in your office, in your family, you will always find one. And I am grateful to my husband genuinely. I think I don't think any of this journey could have been completed without him. But also to lot of my clients and my literally my reporting managers, every single achievement of mine was only because they allowed me to try to keep understanding whatever is giving me that enjoyment. I was never ever stopped. So just enjoy what you do, and you will find ways of growing, and you will love your journey. The journey need not be a designation or a title. Just stay away from the designations, title, the budgets, the targets. I have never chased any title in my journey. I've never wanted to be this and that, and I haven't kept a time frame that in next 5 years I want to do this. I want to be enjoying my entire phase. Who knows? I will not even survive next 5 years. Why do I want to put a lot of strain on where I have to see myself? And but you only knew. You will only understand if you do your best with those boundaries. I can't do best if I have a lot of boundaries. So just enjoy. Be yourself. You are the one that needs to be celebrated, nobody else.
Preeti, thank you so much for sharing this with us. It's been a wonderful journey together, and I guess your message is something which will resonate with all our audiences. Thank you so much. If this episode has sparked ideas for your next hire or for your leadership strategies, hit the subscribe button just now. Follow ValueMatrix.tv for show notes, exclusive conversations, and ways to connect. Drop a comment with your biggest takeaway, and don't forget to share this with everyone in your network. Thanks for tuning in, and until next time, keep leading the impact.